What's going on, Law Fam? Lay, man, that's your favorite too.
Yeah, Mr. Law Twin.
You did. Hey, come on, man. Listen.
Hey, we got more content for y'all.
That's
we
first and foremost. So hit the like button, please.
Hit that like button so we can keep on dropping these videos. You know what I'm saying? But we got a video for y'all today.
So boom, this video in particular. This is why it's on the channel. This is why the reaction is coming to y'all. I was personally just dumping through the internet. You know how they be saying brain rotting? I was brain rotting. And I started watching this and I was like, wait a minute, this is actually very interesting. And this channel, shout out to this channel, shout out to dog right here. It's called What's the Dirt or something like that. Type that in, you will find it. You know what I'm saying? But so basically he breaking down Iceman 3 episode from Drake. However, I remember I don't know if it was like Kai Cenat or something who watched the whole thing and was like, oh, this trash or whatever. And so when I was kind of like looking at it, I was like, yeah, this is kind of stale. But he gave me a different way of looking at it.
He was talking about the Iceman album. Or Iceman,
no, the episodes.
Iceman episodes.
Yeah.
How many of them was it?
It's 3 episodes. This was the third one. This was the most recent to drop.
Kai watched the episodes and said it was...
He watched the 3.
It's trash.
All the way through.
Okay.
Or something like that.
And he finna explain.
He's explaining what he thinks
about it.
Drake means. So we're not taking this as Bible. This ain't law.
Yeah.
But it's just a way to look at it. And I was like, wait a minute, this is interesting.
Got on the Iceman shirt?
I don't know how. Drake's selling merch and the album not even out yet. That's insanity. But yeah, we gonna get to it, man. Shout out to y'all boys. It's gonna be a long video. We're gonna try to chill on the pauses. But y'all needed that intro. Let's get it.
Real quick before we get started, I think this is like the best breakdown that I've ever made. Like, I'm super proud of this. I hope you guys enjoy it. Alright guys, so we finally got Iceman episode 3 from Drake, and this time it all went down in Milan, Italy. A quick refresher, episode 1 was in Toronto. We had Drake at the Iceman factory. We got the single for What Did I Miss, and then he drove the delivery truck through the city for all of downtown to witness. In episode 2, he went even heavier on the visuals, where Drake's team turned it up a couple notches. We had Drake at the brewery, he was staring at a couple red buttons, a Pinocchio was stalking him, he received a mysterious bag from Central C, we got the record for which one, he gets away from the Pinocchio, jumps in an elevator, where he stares at another red button before he catches a train. That's a high-level review of what happened so far. And now with episode number 3, Drake's team took the production to a whole other level, as this episode required 16 cameras, 2 Steadicams, 1 drone, 14 locations, with just 3...
That sounds like a mafia
Come on now. And that joint was an hour and 30 minutes. We was never making it through an hour and 30 minutes, so thank him for turning it into 40.
Hey,
you know what I mean?
Who is Pinocchio?
Days to prepare, and I didn't count, but there has to be at least over 100 actors.
Shop best
I forgot about ads, and we will never get a pop-up blocker, so just don't even start, man.
A lot of people overlook like the work that goes into this, including me, but this is like a live film. Just a quick disclaimer, there are a lot of Italian landmarks and references in this episode, and I'm going to try my best to pronounce some of these words properly, but I'm destined to mess up some of these names. The episode opens up with a wide shot of Castello Safranza in Milan. During the day, this is one of the busiest places for tourism, but in this shot, it looks lifeless as it's shot at nighttime. Now, inside these walls lies some of the most celebrated art in human history. Names like Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, and Raphael all have beautiful murals and statues inside this castle. But here's the twist, none of them owned their art. No matter how brilliant they were, these artists were paid for their labor and not their legacy. Whoever controlled and owned the castle also owned the art. For as long as these famous pieces have lived behind these walls and the billions of dollars generated from tourists that go see it, the families of these genius creators have not earned a penny. From a music perspective, they didn't own their masters, right? This castle is a perfect symbol of power, control, and legacy as it pertains to art, and I believe it's a perfect representation of the music industry and how things work. Just like the famous art behind these walls, the music and legacy of an artist is owned by the label. In theory, UMG is no different than the leaders who own this castle. They'll put up the money to fund an artist, but more times than not,
you see where you're going. It's all about how Drake using this in his thing, though. You know what I mean? So that's what started catching me, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. Like, you know,
they own the music forever. It's almost like as long as art has existed, there's been this power dynamic where rich, wealthy, powerful people own the art and not the people who actually make it. Next, we see a bunker that is full of ice with 2 shovels and what appears to be a very similar sized block to the block that we saw Drake measure in episode 1. Now, the location of this bunker is at the business location of Iceman in Milan. Not to get confused with the business of Iceman in Toronto. They are 2 separate enterprises, but this is a perfect shot that acts as a visual motif to remind us right away of the continued theme around the Iceman. Again, this has all been planned for quite some time. Next, we see the shot of the San Siro Stadium in Milan, which is one of the most iconic stadiums in the world for hosting football, concerts, and cultural events. The most unique aspect about this stadium is the fact that 2 rival football teams share it. They have one of the most famous and long-standing rivalries in the history of sports, and that is AC Milan versus Inter Milan.
But
this competitive dynamic under the same roof is a perfect example of how UMG structures its business. On the east, we have Monty Littman, who looks after the East Coast labels, and on the west, we have John Janik, who controls the power of the West Coast labels. These 2 executives in particular have been battling for years to see which side is more profitable, aka which team wins, but ultimately it all falls under the ownership of UMG. But get this, in 2006, AC Milan CEO Adriano Galliani was caught in a match-fixing scandal. Basically, the CEO was
a match-fixing scandal.
Right.
Dun, dun,
pay
dun.
attention to...
It's the little words.
Pay attention to small words, man.
I'm going to let him cook.
Let him cook it up.
Before we cook anything.
Because I think that... I don't know what this dude's name is that's doing this show. But I think he probably went to Dissect University.
It's possible.
Because he breaking down.
He's cooking.
He in his bag.
Come on now.
And we need some of them Happy Dad hats that you got on. I seen them.
The Happy Dad
Send
hats.
us some.
If we get them, we gonna need that check. Happy Dad is beer.
Happy Dad is beer?
Yes. So they gonna have to send the cases.
So he got them from another person.
There
I thought it was his. I was gonna support.
No, my guy. I forgot his name. Different channel. But
okay, bet.
Yep.
Picking the referees to call the games. You want to know how they got caught? Wiretaps and a whole lot of them. I'm talking direct evidence of discussing which referees should call their games. Now, call me crazy, but from Drake, we've seen owls on phone lines. We have entire records like Nokia based on phone calls. There's a theme around taps itself.
I got your fucking lines tapped, I swear that I'm dialed in.
And he even installed a phone booth outside of his house.
It's a big Bridle Path mansion, a payphone booth. Remember those?
Is this like a subliminal message from Drake? I don't know. But
he always subliminal.
A phone booth is where you would go to avoid wiretaps.
Paulie hated phones. He wouldn't have one in his house.
Made guy, he flipped about 10 years ago and he got busted for peddling H.
The scene then switches to the Baciophilia Casalanza. I'm so bad at this, bro. It's here where we get a yellow and blue backdrop with a few old-timers playing bocce ball. Now, bocce in particular is a game that takes time and patience. It's not a fast-action sport. Players take time to measure angles and plan their shots well in advance. With this Iceman rollout, Drake has been playing the long game. There are many clues that the title of Iceman has been in the works since 2003.
I'm not really a cupcake.
Said 2003 though.
Thanks to Mood Can.
Mood is third-party tested.
And we saw Iceman references on the Plot Twist Instagram account just weeks after his beef with Kendrick ended.
Y'all put it in the front page, back page, middle page, wherever. Headliners, column 1 or 2.
Big she, man. That's the technical.
Next, we see a statue called the Mother of Boo, and I believe this statue represents one of the most important aspects of the episode. This statue is based on an old 1800s play where Mother Abu is this greedy, power-hungry woman who will do anything to get to the top. She manipulates her husband into killing the king so that he can take the throne. Mother Abu causes massive damage and chaos because she pushes her husband to make reckless choices. These are choices where it looks like he's making them himself, but really she's behind the scenes calling the shots. In a nutshell, the statue symbolizes greed and manipulation. It's a strong statement that the person wearing the crown isn't always in control and that there are invisible forces pulling the strings behind the scenes. A good example would be like, say, a president, right? People say, oh, the president is just a puppet.
This is where I'm going to kind of jump in. So, in reference to, because I take it to like the, just this portion, I take it to like the beef, right? So if Drake was in control, right? Mm-hmm. Then if he was claiming to be the king, right? And he was knowing the whole time that strings was being pulled for him, then he would know ahead of time that if somebody else took that crown and became that king, he would be like, you're no longer in control. Because now if you crown that, I know what's going to happen. Because it happened with me. Mm-hmm. Almost in a chess move kind of way. That's what made this real interesting at this point. And then I haven't really seen much.
And that's how it worked, though.
Of course.
That's how it go.
So that's what got me. And I was like, this is a reaction video. We need to do that.
There's people behind the scenes really pulling the strings, and that's basically what the statue represents. Up to this point in the video, there has been no sound whatsoever, but this is where it changes as we hear Parole Parole by Minna. Parole Parole is a song from back in 1976 where we have a man talking to a woman and she is singing back to him. The man continuously compliments the woman, and in every sense of the word, he's telling her what she wants to hear. However, the woman is not buying it. To her, it's all words, and she sees right through them. The phrase parole parole quite literally means words, words. In France, they'll use it by saying, like, that's just words. Like, it's all talk, like parole parole. It's also extremely interesting to point out that Minna had a history of being dissatisfied with record labels. She was being taken advantage of financially, and she had very little creative control. That was until she left her label behind and started an independent label called PDU with her father. The most interesting part about this is the fact that Minna is known as the first Italian singer to ever own her own record label and recording studio. She is the first Italian musician to really fight for independence in the music industry. She's Italy's first independent superstar. What's even more impressive is that Minna's career completely exploded as an independent artist. She gained far more success on her own than she ever did under her record deal. And it's the specific music he uses, and artist he uses, and architecture that he shoots that really, it helps to tell the story. The song itself is literally about empty promises in a toxic relationship, as Minna sings from the perspective of a woman who's been lied to repeatedly. Drake could be making a statement about the label executives that betrayed him, or the countless rumors that are in circulation when it comes to his name. Really, it's one of the simplest ways for Drake to address everything, like parole parole, like all that's just talk, it's just words. Next we see a standard open door, but it's part of a much larger door frame. This is often referred to as a wicket door, and it's very common in older Italian architecture. Humans would go through the smaller door, and like the bigger door was used for like cows and like cattle and stuff like that. This door in particular is located at the Chiesa del Carmen church in Milan. And it's at the end of the video where we're really going to talk about this church. Eventually the music stops and the scene cuts to the Iceman truck in Milan. What we see next is the entrance sign for the exact same location from the scene with the bocce court. Also notice that this area is under surveillance, which is a theme we have seen throughout the Iceman series. In fact, the Mother Abu statue that I just showed you also clearly had a camera staring directly at it. The scene then moves through the restaurant, giving us a full 360 view of the space before Drake finally appears, carrying the same bag from episode 2 on his back. He's also wearing the same Iceman hoodie that we've seen in the first 2 episodes, so there's continuity across the series. However, this time I did notice something specific about the bag, and that is that it's camouflage. I don't think this was a random design choice, as camouflage can be seen as a symbol of war, a sign of moving strategically, and a way of blending in while plotting your next move. I don't think the camouflage bag...
He ain't missed nothing, did he?
No, he paying attention to every
single little piece.
But this probably, he was, like I said, he did his due diligence.
You see that owl in the back?
This ain't just
he's at work.
He put it together.
You see that? He at work.
Man, he on that.
You know what I'm saying? But hey, man, listen. Hats off to you, brother.
Yeah.
Hats off to you. I was never in this together.
Bag is like a random thing. We then see Drake carrying the bag as he walks past rows and rows of trophies. You'll soon see that legacy is a major theme in this episode, and you'll notice he takes a moment to check some of them out. Drake, of course, already has countless accolades and awards, which makes this shot interesting, but we'll circle back to this later. Think about protecting your legacy, but also building on your legacy.
I took 2 things that I love, dancing and dogs, and I made them into a successful business.
Drake then walks out to the bocce court, he takes a seat, he pulls out his phone and proceeds to call Yeet, who is playing the character of a man shown on screen at another location.
So, you made it all right?
So right away it seems like we have a narrative bridge to connect the 2 episodes, as Yeet confirms that Drake made it to the location safely, and remember episode 2 ended off with Drake catching a train. You made it here all right? Like, it kind of connects the 2 episodes, right? In the phone conversation, we do hear Drake talking, and you can hear him whisper, but as much as I manipulate the audio, I can't really pick out what he's saying, except for one portion where he says, "I'll see you when I see you." Yeet seems to be playing the role of someone setting up a play for Drake, and it's clear that it's also risky, as he has a backup plan should things go left.
Look, I got that other thing set up just in case anything go left.
After the call ends, Drake takes the bag, heads back into the restaurant, and meets 3 mafia-like figures. He takes a seat, and then Italian rap superstar Stefra Ubasta lays a red card out on the table. Another famous person in this scene is designer Domenico Formachietti. Now, if you look closely, it appears that this is not just a card, as something seems to be attached to it, possibly a key, and I look at this card as Drake receiving a very specific key piece of information. Once he accepts the card, he leaves the restaurant and walks towards the Iceman truck, and at the time I thought for sure he was going to drive the vehicle, but instead he gets into a smaller car, which I believe is a 1970s Fiat 125 special. And now he begins to tease like a bunch of new music. When it comes to the music in this episode, there are a lot of interesting lines, but I'll break them down in a separate video because most of it is not relevant to the theme of the episode. However, one thing that I do want to point out is that on 2 separate songs, Drake seems to bring up that they want him dead.
I wonder how long I'll be at the top if they don't kill me. Oh yeah, y'all wanna see me go? Y'all wanna see me dead?
Some might hear these lines and think about Drake's ops in terms of rappers, but this is also reminiscent of what Drake alleged in his lawsuit against UMG.
I wonder how long it'll take him to count out 2,000 million.
So again, in relation to the lawsuit, you can do the math. Drake is talking about the label counting out $2 billion. Now, is this a figure he's hoping to get? Is this what he values his catalog at? Is he saying they'll have to fork over his catalog? I don't know. The line really leaves more questions than answers, right? But Drake has been talking about these super max deals, right? Drake comes to a stop, and the next big location is to Torretta del Nuovo Macello. I know I'm terrible at these names, trust me. The scene takes place at a small restaurant in Milan, a spot known for its quality Italian cuisine. A table is set for 4, and an ominous yet amazing beat fills the background. I couldn't find this sample anywhere. We see a random man and woman eating at a table and drinking wine, and one by one, we see that 4 Pinocchios sit down at the table, and what immediately stood out to me is just how different these 4 Pinocchios were from the one that we saw in episode 2. The Pinocchio from episode 2 wore a single piece suit, while the costumes in this restaurant scene look noticeably homemade. The most striking difference is their bow ties. Each one is neatly tied and identical across the group, whereas the Pinocchio from episode 2 is entirely different. The Pinocchio from episode 2 is more polished, right? Like he's meant to be in the public eye. I think he's an artist, and I still think it's Kendrick. The difference in costume details feels deliberate, as it suggests that these 4 Pinocchios are all tied together as one collective force. They are not artists, they are suits that represent industry executives pulling the strings. They're still puppets, but they're corporate puppets. The likely suspects for the 4 Pinocchios would be John Janik of Interscope, Monty Littman of Republic, Littman of Republic, and another person who acts as an inside mole or whistleblower. If you look at Drake's lawsuit against UMG, these are the key players at the top that would make up the plan. Now, if you're wondering about Lucien Grange and where he is in all this, he's been in the restaurant the whole time. If you look at the man seated behind the Pinocchios, this is a stand-in actor meant to symbolize Lucien. Notice there is not a single moment where he even looks or acknowledges the Pinocchios. Drake's lawsuit alleges that Lucien was fully aware of the plan, but turned a blind eye to it.
Pick 6.
I was gonna pause it anyway.
For 19,
I am gonna get this commercial on first.
Meal for 2.
Like,
great song.
Hold on, I'm gonna wait till he's stupid. My bad, y'all. Had an attack.
And the fact that,
but it's insane to me because if he cooking like this, you feel me? Yeah. Then it's like Drake, like you done put some stuff together, like. That's a different level, because mind you, in these episodes, or this episode specifically, like he said, there is no audio.
Yeah.
There is no talking besides the times that he say that they was talking. And
yes,
I had previewed it a little bit, but I didn't get nothing.
For a reason.
Yeah.
It's for you to pay attention and then for you to see.
How he breaking it down, it's like it's touching the points of the lawsuit, whether you agree with the lawsuit or not, y'all.
But it's doing it.
It's touching those points. So the message is still being delivered. So when the continuity is hitting like that, kind of lock you in. You be like, hold on, bro. I'm gonna let them cook though.
The Pinocchios are able to get into the same building and spaces to be this close to Lucien told me that they were executives, right? Like Lucien's, he's turning a blind eye. He's not looking. He knows they're there, but he's keeping his distance, right? Each Pinocchio receives a single ice cube on their plate, and you could see that they look to be discussing business. One of the Pinocchios then writes out the word legacy on the tablecloth in red sauce, likely meant to symbolize blood. This is a strong statement to symbolize that what's on the menu is Drake's legacy, his name, his reputation, his catalog. They want to eat off Drake's legacy at any cost, which is why it's written in blood. However, they don't get a 4-course meal. The only thing on the menu tonight are ice cubes, Drake's signature as the Iceman. I believe that each ice cube represents a frozen moment, the same name of Drake's LLC in the lawsuit against UMG. John Janik's ice cube represents his part of the plan as someone who stood to gain financially from the beef. Avery and Monty Littman's ice cubes represent the betrayal of Republic Records and how instead of protecting Drake, they cooperated and approved the defamatory material to lower Drake's negotiation value. Each ice cube acts as a frozen moment that represents the evidence of their own corruption. There will be evidence of payola with radio. There will be a digital footprint for proof of bots and manipulation. There will be paper trails that show they knew Not Like Us was damaging to Drake's image. There will be documents of them approving the defamatory material. Basically, all the shady moves.
And kind of like this, right? So in a rap beef, who cares? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. This person's gonna say what they gonna say. This person's gonna say what they say. Basically, what's being alleged, or where he's saying like you crossed me at, is saying that the plan was actually orchestrated. If you get what I'm saying, like no, you should say this, and ooh yes, if you say that, then that'll bring down. He's saying that he got evidence, or he has a paper trail of these people talking about it. Like this will happen, and that'll make it like this. And yo, if we spam it with bots to start, then that's what he's saying. You get what I'm saying? Like, not to, you know what I mean? Not to be like, oh, it's a rap battle, you shouldn't, This is what's being alleged by Drake. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like a different aspect of it versus you just seeing a lawsuit go up and being like, oh, this man suing because he got smacked in the rap battle.
But I feel like the thing with people, I think the thing with the people where they felt some type of way is like, Drake, do you not believe that in your career that people had dinners about other people? So and it was ice on plates about other artists when you was getting, and it was benefiting you. So I think that's what people argue. Like, Drake, you think it would mastermind dinners and Pinocchio sitting around to help your career?
That's what makes this. So that's what makes this episode to me. Like, once I started to gravitate to it, that's what makes it so genius.
It's just that Drake actually is showing that what is going on.
That's what makes it so genius, because he already showed it in the crown. Yeah. Remember when he was saying, like, if you have the crown, you are the puppet. So, like, for you to take it from me, it
just reminded me like the Him movie with Marlon.
He's saying,
like, you think it don't go like it's going.
He's saying, forget the fact that it's a transfer of the crown. I don't want it. Yeah. But you cross me.
Absolutely.
To try to take my money.
Absolutely.
That's what he's saying. So it's like,
absolutely.
It's directly
because it happens. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It happens where you will see and you'll be like, dang, why Kanye not a billionaire no more?
Come on,
it's like, if you want Kanye to
this
break
is less
down
about
Italy,
Kendrick.
It could be.
This is less about Kendrick.
It's more about him.
There it is.
Of course, it's never about that.
You see what I'm saying?
It's never.
That's about what make this like. Hold on,
make
it's
it crazy.
Like a movie. I want to watch it because he's telling his story.
He's telling his
through
story
the thing. So I'm like, hey, I've got to heard.
And Drake might be one of the first rappers to actually do that. Kind of, in a way of breaking it down. Yeah, in his own, like I said, 80-90% of it is silent. It's just something for you to look at, and you draw whatever you want to draw.
And shout out to Who Is Dirt, because he came through like, I got it, I think I got it, and hey, we don't see what you're talking about.
It's not. He's just doing it off of if your brain can pick it up.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? So
supposed to come together as this secret and perfect plan to damage Drake will act as their own downfall, because it's all evidence against them. It's things that they can't erase, right? It's frozen moments. That's the evidence. In reality, the legacy written in blood on the table isn't Drake's at all, but their own. In their minds, this dinner table was meant to be loaded with steak, lobster tails, wagyu, caviar, and all the finest things, because that's what a flawless victory looks like when you don't get caught. Instead, what they're really being served are the frozen reminders of their own corruption.
Doorbusters.
You know how when people be like, when
this
you know, like how like
average sale. This
on the net, like girls would be like, "Oh, I'm finna throw him a birthday party," and then you show up and everybody there, and it's like, "I know you cheated." And it's like, I'm freezing this for you. You showed up here thinking it was gonna be sweet, and then boom, you just looking at what you did, and it's like, oh my god.
Yep.
And that's what the whole point of the lawsuit is. When I sued you, I put your bullshit out.
Win, lose,
that's
or
what
draw.
you trying to say.
Right.
Yeah.
Whether you do what you do, here this go.
Yeah, it's like
boom.
You can still be at that table, but I'm showing you like,
yeah, there go your moment.
And was supposed to go off without a hitch, right? But it's really like the plan itself that turns out to be their downfall, because it's all evidence. In the end, the waiter comes along and dumps a bucket of smaller ice cubes on the table, and I believe this symbolizes all the smaller players that make up the plan. They're just regular workers like the waiter. As you can see here, there are a lot of people in Drake's lawsuit that he is seeking discovery from, and I believe these smaller ice cubes represent all the data that comes from discovery. These are the smaller frozen moments like timestamps, IP logs, wire transfers, playlist fees, invoices, metadata, and information like that. Individually, these are all smaller frozen moments, right? But when they all come together collectively, it's like a mountain of evidence that takes up the whole table. This Italian restaurant scene acts as a direct link to the three mafia-like figures who I believe provided Drake with a metaphorical key to the inside of the restaurant and their plan. If you're familiar with mafia movies and TV shows, you'll know that the classic setup for arranging a hit or murder often happens at a restaurant. In fact, it's not even some mythical thing in show business. Restaurant hits have played out many times in real-life mafia situations. Carmine Galante was killed in Joe and Mary's restaurant in Brooklyn. Joe Gallo was shot at Umberto Clam House in Little Italy. Willie Moretti was killed having lunch at Joe's Elbow Room in Jersey. And this dinner or meeting is like a metaphorical hit going down that Drake carried out. He's the hitman who laid out the ice cubes, right? We then see a shot of a fancy looking apartment, and I track this down, and it is the Loft Elegante in Zona Palastro. As you can see, this is the exact same place, it's just lit and color graded differently. A good looking woman enters the scene, she walks around a bit, and one thing I noticed is she is wearing the merch from Lil Yachty's clothing line, Concrete Boys. I know there's some rumors going around that Drake is not on good terms with Yachty, but I don't think that's true. Drake enters the room with the bag, and the girl is very happy to see him. It's clear that they know each other as it's all smiles and they hug. This is the first time we've seen the Iceman character give off any authentic signs of trust. Drake then proceeds through a secret hidden door, and as you could see, the inside is all red. In episode 2, we saw a bunch of doors, right? So there's definitely a theme around doors. From here, Drake previews a new song titled Stuck, and I'm not sure if this coincides with the theme at all. I couldn't really make any connections. The woman sits down and watches a video of Drake. Now, wherever this was filmed, it is the exact same location as the Fighting Irish freestyle that leaked in January. Eventually, it was posted to the Plot Twist YouTube channel, and as you can see, this is the exact same fireplace. We'll talk about this soon, but this freestyle is really important.
And you know what's crazy about the Fighting Irish, right? When he was going at LeBron, I always think back to when Kendrick first started coming for Drake.
Yeah.
When he first started coming for him. Something I always remember is before dun 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 dun, They Not Like Us, before that drop, Kendrick said, love Bron, keep the family safe. Steph Curry, keep the family safe. Like, he told him, like, before I put this shit out and it make Drake feel away, I know y'all worked so hard for y'all images. Get away from him real quick.
Man.
Run an ISO. I'm about to smack him, and when I smack him, I don't want it to fall back on y'all because y'all be around him. And so that's why when you look at like Drake in them rooms, in them Fighting Irish rooms, and he got that alone look, it's like, wow, like y'all spread it for an ISO on me? Like, I'm taking this to the chin dolo, but y'all was around me all this time. So just stepping away from me exclude you type of vibe. And I was like, whoa.
I just be like this.
Tough.
The only thing I ever hated in that whole thing when all of that happened, well, I ain't gonna say I hated it.
Yeah.
But as observing it was that when he was into it with Meek.
Yeah.
Meek Mill before that. Meek Mill, I seen everybody step back from Meek Mill. And it was like Drake is the first one to come out and be like, look at this and look at what's going on. But did you not see what happened when you did what you did to Meek? Niggas ISO, they let you slam dunk all over Meek Mill.
Right.
Like I seen people that I saw with Meek Mill nowhere to be found.
Mm-hmm. And so
it's like when DeMar DeRozan and LeBron them is dancing, it's like I personally don't see how you could be surprised, but I get it. Because it's like,
and I think
did you
that's
not
the
see
theme
that
of this.
When you did what you did?
I think that's the theme.
It was the same thing.
I think that's the theme of this. I think that
like
he knew.
People,
I think that I won't say that he knew. I'll say what I think he's trying to say. I think Drake is trying to say, I knew it was going to happen to me this way. This was my only way to entangle the labels.
And
in a way where I can expose them.
And what I'm saying is separate from what he's doing, because it's like he's clearly showing what it is.
Using the corruption against the corruptor.
He usually
type of vibe.
Literally doing it. So it's like I get what
Which is crazy.
What he's doing.
Yeah.
But it's like, bruh, it's what it is.
Because he wouldn't know best.
It's a dirty. It's like you are no different than nobody else.
He would know best. He would know best.
You would know it
what is
because
capable
it's like,
of being done to a person. So when it turned back on him, it's like he's sitting there.
Yeah, and then you the most, like he said, I'm the king. If you the king,
and you gotta take it off.
It's like playing.
You put it on.
It's like
you know
playing checkers. Like you know the most valuable pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you are a part of the board, regardless.
Yeah.
Like it's pieces that people just get rid of, and it's pieces, but you are a piece.
You will remain a piece. You can't.
And that.
You
gotta
out of the piece till you get knocked off.
Right, you gotta understand what the board is. But you can't forget that you're on the board.
Yeah.
You own it.
You gotta stay on the board.
You own the board.
Eventually, Drake reappears from the hidden red room, and now he is wearing a different outfit. This is the first time over the course of the series where he is not in the Iceman character, and I believe this is for a very good reason. Something that a lot of people seem to miss is that while Drake takes a sip of the wine, the woman gives him another red card and Drake leaves the room with the bag. I believe this woman represents a key aspect of information, possibly something that could blow this entire thing wide open. This is where the Mother Abu statue makes an even bigger statement, because she was a powerful hidden woman that was really pulling the strings. Next, the woman picks up a Pinocchio toy, which I was able to track down, and it's this one right here. It's a Pinocchio snow globe that when you wind it up, it plays a song. That's exactly what the girl does, but unfortunately, it's here where the production team seemed to make a mistake. You can see that she's listening to the song, but we can't hear it, and I believe they forgot to cue the audio for the scene. This is what I think we were supposed to hear. I really believe they messed that part up. The girl winds up the Pinocchio toy so that it will start playing, and to me, this feels symbolic of a woman behind the scenes pulling the strings of these Pinocchio executives. Essentially, she's playing them. She's the one who opens the door for Drake, and that door likely represents secrets and information that only she can give him access to.
This Adam is on WhatsApp.
Tough.
This Adam is not.
Trying to cook,
so
man.
His donation update got lost under.
Then we had the mirror on the wall, and normally a mirror just shows the surface reflection of things, but Drake goes behind the mirror, and that means he's stepping past appearances and into what's being concealed. He emerges with a completely different outfit, and this is a new identity, one that represents Drake playing along with the game. And I think this is a big part of the plot twist, where the Iceman just carried out the hit. He knows what they're about to do, but he's got to play it cool. He's changing into a different character now, right? Where this character needs to play the game. This has all the hallmarks of what a very common type of plot twist would look like in cinema, where the character is someone completely different than they actually seem. By the way, if you want to support what I'm doing here on the channel, I did create memberships finally, and I'll leave it in the penny of this means. It kind of looks like lips kissed onto a card, But in Sicilian mob culture, this is known as a pizzini, which is a small piece of paper with cryptic messaging that the mob use for very high-level communications. These pizzinis, if you look it up, like there's some famous like Sicilian mob bosses that use these. Drake then plays a remix of Somebody Who Loves Me with Cash Cobain, and there is a fairly long stretch of seeing all the same shots that we were already shown, but now Pinocchios are at some of the locations. One is in the ice bunker, and I believe this is Republic's Avery Lippman. Drake potentially owes one more album to Republic under contract, and that will be Iceman. As you could see, there is a single block of ice with the Pinocchio in the bunker. This had me look back to question what the blocks represented in the Iceman factory from episode 1. At the time, I wasn't sure what the blocks were for, but this visual had me thinking. In that episode, Drake was clearly working for the man inside the factory, and when he measures out that block, is it possible this represented his last album for UMG? Looking back now and thinking about it, I think it's definitely possible that the block is an album. Next we see the Pinocchio who is outside of the castle, and I believe this is Monty Lippman of Republic, who just a few months before the battle received a massive promotion. As I explained in previous videos, Monty's goal is to ultimately take over Lucian's spot. In every sense of the word, he is an industry climber who wants to be in Lucian's seat. He wants to get into the castle. He wants the throne, right? Like the castle to me is UMG. While all these visuals are being shown, we hear a sample called Wadan from a Lebanese artist named Farouz. This track in particular is a very highly regarded cultural track in Lebanon. In fact, the Lebanese people are very protective over Farouz and her music. She is a cultural icon, and it shouldn't come as a shocker that in 2012, UMG purchased EMI, which was the label that owned the majority of Farouz's catalog. The one man that was extremely happy with this deal was, of course, Lucian Grange, who celebrated being the proud owner of this music. Based on my research, it looks like a lot of her catalog is with UMG. And Drake is pairing this legendary artist's music with scenes of the castle, a place that owns all the legendary art that I mentioned earlier. Crazy, then we see the shot of Legacy on the table and the Mother Abu statue, which represents greed. This is a powerful statement because UMG is collecting legacy art and culture like baseball cards. And if Drake's allegations are true, they're willing to do whatever it takes to assume that ownership. And I think people are really missing the bigger picture of what he's trying to say. Next we switch to the Teatro Girolamo Theater in Milan, and back in the day, this venue was specifically built for puppet shows. As you can see, here are some old photos. This thing is creepy as hell, but you get the point. I don't like it. Like, I don't like the puppets and shit. Like, I'm definitely not pulling up. So, obviously a running theme over the last 2 episodes is Pinocchio, which is a puppet, and it's at this exact theater where they put on actual Pinocchio puppet shows. Pinocchio also originated in Italy, so it makes sense. Next we see Drake, who emerges from a door, and he looks down at the floor from the main viewing gallery. Now, soon enough, you are going to see that these sections get filled by powerful white men in business suits, and I believe these men represent shareholders, private investors, and board members who more or less sit above people like Lucian at UMG. Drake himself is on the exact same level as the powerful investors and shit, right? Like they're eye to eye. So when Drake takes up that exact same space in the gallery, it really tells me one thing. He's either looking for equity in the company or full-on ownership of his music.
A Michael Jackson move. Michael Jackson's music was so powerful and it made so much money that he was entitled to a piece of the company. But if you're entitled to a piece of the company, that means whoever you've been working for this whole time, you then become their boss. They know their bosses already because those are the investors. Those are outside. It's just like a hot dog stand. You want to run a hot dog stand? I can give you $5,000 to open the stand, but you got to give me some equity in it. So you go make that money, but I get a portion of it because I was able to fund it to even happen. And
but
there's
that's crazy.
people like that over.
But then, like he said, like
every industry.
How long will I survive? Because it's like,
because
it's like
once
I
you
can
want
give
a
you,
piece,
I can give you a piece, but then the rest I ain't gonna speak about.
That pisses everybody else off because it's like,
if you is, then you still are. So
because it's like we owned it first, but because you was able to climb out of or be so successful in there, you got to get promoted. Yeah. People don't like other people getting promoted.
Alive or not alive, you gonna sell.
Yeah.
Your catalog is like Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson is great.
You seen what he put on that table with the legacy with the circle?
I see. Yeah, and he said it in the other thing. So it's like, hey, once you in, it's like you can get equity or whatever you want, but it's like Drake, you Drake. You Drake, and this is UMG.
Mm-hmm.
That's like Tom Brady.
Emerges from
that's like Tom Brady and Randy Moss.
Actual Pinocchio puppet show. Pinocchio also originated in Italy, so it makes sense. Next, we see Drake, who emerges from a door, and he looks down at the floor from the main viewing gallery. Now, soon enough, you are going to see that these sections get filled by powerful white men in business suits, and I believe these men represent shareholders, private investors, and board members who more or less sit above people like Lucien at UMG. Drake himself is on the exact same level as the powerful investors and shit, right? Like they're eye to eye. So when Drake takes up that exact same space in the gallery, it really tells me one thing. He's either looking for equity in the company or full-on ownership of his music.
No! Come on, man.
Did you think our story was over?
I don't think... The first one was good, though, right?
What is this?
This is, the phone.
Black phone.
Remember he was tied up
We
in the
raised
basement?
sad coffee. Sonic's $2.99 salted caramel toffee iced coffee.
Outside of that, possibly Drake owns other artists' music and catalogs that we don't know anything about. And I really believe that there's like a theme, like an ongoing theme of Drake and ownership. You'll see that there's a moment where one man wearing all black appears in the gallery and he makes a gesture towards Drake. You can see that Drake looks directly at him, so it's clear there's some sort of communication or relationship between these two people. Nobody else is in the room except for these two. Another thing you'll notice here is that of all the men in the gallery, he is specifically the only person wearing all black. This is intentional as he is meant to stand out from the others, and it could symbolize a whistleblower from up top and someone that Drake has information from. It's very possible that this guy that's above Drake, status power-wise, he's the other Pinocchio. Drake leaves his place in the gallery and heads down to the seating area that's above Drake.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Status power-wise, he's the other Pinocchio. Drake leaves his place in the gallery and heads down to the seating area below where we see two red chairs. While all this is going on, we hear a classic Italian song called Vesta la Guba. This song is part of a play called Pagliacci, and the word itself means clowns. The opera singer who sings this specific part of the play that you're hearing from Drake in the episode is a clown named Canio who just found out that his wife is cheating on him, and even though he's betrayed and really upset with the news, he still needs to put on the clown makeup and perform for the people. This specific part of the play really mirrors Drake's situation because he already knows that his label is going to do him dirty, but he has to play along with the game. This could really be the reason for his change in outfits. The Iceman character is the part of Drake that represents cold-hearted revenge, whereas the character that is sitting down is the Drake that they are expecting. This is Drake playing the game. A man with a ponytail enters the scene and sits down face to face with Drake, and I believe all this represents a contract negotiation. The writing has been on the wall that Drake might not re-sign with UMG in 2025, and all the powerful men are watching because Drake is a critical part of their bottom line. Obviously, they've been approaching him, feeling him out, like, are you going to resign? Like, what are you thinking, bro? Now, as far as the man with the ponytail and who this might be, I don't think he's one person in particular. I think he's a symbol of corporate greed. Both Drake and this man are the dead center of all the shareholders and investors. They are also both specifically under a spotlight, and that is because Drake's legacy and corporate greed is really the center of everything. At the end of the day, is this not what this is all about? Corporate greed over Drake's legacy? That's what this whole thing is. That's what all these people are here for. You can see that the man is asking for Drake to hand over the bag, and clearly they aren't willing to give Drake what he wants, which I honestly feel is very closely tied to ownership, hence why Drake started on the same level as the investors in the beginning. There's also the fact that while all this is going on, the sample in the music that we are hearing is Italian for go fuck yourself. Think of it this way, if a big chunk of Drake's master recordings leaves the UMG balance sheet, that means lower dividends, weaker forecast, and likely a weaker evaluation of the company itself. All the men looking down
change everything just by taking my whole catalog
from the streaming and licensing.
Yeah, tell everybody why the pay cuts is coming.
This is the reality.
You
the Valor family from France owns 28% of UMG. Tencent out of China owns another 20%. Then Perishing Holdings owns another 10%. And look, I think Drake has demands that he's not willing to compromise. Look, at a certain point, it was very clear that Drake realized just how much he was worth and just how valuable he was because we heard all about it in his music.
Classics, I keep scribbling. Lights in the Universal building just keep flickering.
You know, he really starts to talk his shit. Like, you know, am I staying or am I going? Like, the lights are starting to flicker. I'm keeping the lights on here.
Who the CEO of Universal? They mistaken. Cause Google saying Lucian, but that just doesn't make sense.
Lucian don't make sense. He's not making the money. It's me.
Who filling up the piggy bank? Who bringing home the bacon?
Who's bringing in the bacon? The guys in the gallery.
I was like, oh,
they all know who it is. However, because of corporate greed, it's almost certain they'll never give Drake what he truly wants. That's why when the ponytail man reaches for the bag, Drake pulls it back and holds it tighter. It's at this moment that another Pinocchio emerges, and I will reveal who I think this is soon, but notice the moment this Pinocchio arrives, Drake decides to leave. Remember, Drake is expecting the bullshit. Next, we see the Iceman truck again, and Drake enters a private club in Milan called Apophis. As you could see, here are some photos that they posted to their Instagram page.
Our new Blue Life Protection Formula salmon recipe helps your dog live life to the fullest. It starts with...
This is where Drake performs a new song with Yeet called Doghouse with Julia Wolf. Now remember, Yeet's character started at the beginning of the episode with a phone call with Drake saying that if things go left, I got that thing set up for you. I believe it's here where Drake is showing the touring that he did in order to recoup his $400 million deal with UMG very fast.
Now, peep game.
J. Cole, that one with J. Cole.
Peep game. This is what if he was gonna get hung by the ropes of not being able to recoup because he got smacked, he went and did the shows to make the money.
Yeah, to have it.
So when you ask me about recouping, here go all of it.
Yeah.
Easy work. So you can't even play with me in that part of the negotiation. So for him to be getting lowball, he's like,
and that'd be crazy to me. That is like,
I don't need y'all. I go get it off the floor.
And that same aspect is like what you know is coming to be against you. Now you done went and generated it again.
Just to show.
Just to
pay it up and be like,
just to be like, look.
If I can go do this, why do I need you if you ain't gonna pay me what you should pay?
But the funny thing is that they know that already.
Yeah,
but they got you.
That's why it's creepy. It's really like, creepy and mysterious.
It just be like you just basically at this point just being like, show me some respect,
man.
And they looking like,
that's really
go get this money.
Clue that led me to this is you'll notice that Zach Bia is the DJ in this scene with Drake, and this is the exact same DJ that opened up for Drake for that entire tour. I think he recouped extremely fast because he made like $250 off touring. He was doing deals with Nike and like tons of brand deals. I think he recouped way faster than what people think. Now the Pinocchios from Republic Records are going fucking crazy. Drake is pumping out music, he's touring, he's recouping on his deal insanely fast, and he won't be re-signing unless they meet his demands. We got Monty Littman running around in circles outside the castle, looking absolutely lost, because between Drake and Taylor Swift, he's losing one of his biggest artists. Then we got Avery Littman playing in the ice, losing his damn mind, because that last block of ice is Drake's last album with Republic. In terms of, the Republic umbrella, I don't think Drake is in the best position in the eyes of the executives, because it seems like he's asking for a lot, and if he doesn't get it, he's gonna go. You'll notice that the Pinocchio in the theater stays quiet and stays in one place as the Republic Pinocchios go crazy. Yeah. I believe this character is the newly promoted John Janik under Interscope. John understands that Drake is not in a cozy position with Republic, and he's also another person who wants Lucian's seat when he leaves. This is a perfect opportunity for John Janik to shine. John already has a long history with Kendrick under Interscope, and it's time to put the plan in motion. We see him running in circles, all in the name of corporate greed. Of course, the investors are going to love the beef because it's destined to generate revenue on all sides. Lucian will look incredible. The board of directors at UMG will be very impressed with John's performance. Kendrick's stock will be higher than ever. And the brothers at Republic get a devalued Drake with far less leverage. Everybody wins. After the Pinocchio John finishes circling, he goes into the exact same position on the second level as where Drake started off. That's because of how much he stood to gain from the beef financially, as one of the things that is the highlight of Drake's lawsuit is looking into John Janik's contracts. They want to see John's contract. They want to see the bonus incentives. They want to see what the fuck is in there. It's with this visual where I really think Drake is making a statement at the reality of what really happened. He's telling the story through film without saying a word. This battle wasn't organic, and it wasn't about the culture of hip-hop like those Spotify advertisements suggested. This was about corporate greed, corrupt executives, and it was one giant play, hence why it's all taking place in a puppet theater. Keep in mind, all this is my perspective. Drake eventually leaves the club, and we see a shot of Kevin Durant, who looks pretty intensely into the camera, and I have no explanation for why he's doing this. Drake finally pulls up to the church, and he goes through that little door that we already discussed. One by one, Pinocchios follow, but there's only 3. As I mentioned earlier, I believe the other Pinocchio is the man who Drake interacted with in the gallery who was wearing all black. One of the things I noticed is that Drake's team deliberately used 2 cameras to showcase the one Pinocchio running around in the theater. Why is that? Well, it's because they are showing that there are 2 Pinocchios in the theater. There is even a point where all on the same screen they show one Pinocchio in the ice bunker, another one in the castle, but yet for whatever reason there's 2 different angles of the same Pinocchio in the theater. They show the 2 shots because there's 2 Pinocchios in the room. One of Drake's moles is someone higher up. This was something they also did throughout the episode when they showed footage for the restaurant that really helped spell it out for me. Why are they showing 2 shots? Why show anything other than the table? Isn't the table the only shot that matters? Well, no, because they are showing you that Lucien is in the building, fully aware of the plan, and unlike...
But then they got him back there with a woman, just like he was kind of saying, like the woman that played a part that was spilling information, or your closest whatever. It's crazy. Like, this is crazy. Symbolism. Yes.
The corporate puppets, he's eating pretty good, aka the plan yields massive profit. I literally had a dream the other night that the 4 Pinocchios made me a sandwich. You'll notice each Pinocchio is led through these small doors as Drake, and I want to remind you of this scene from episode 2 with the Pinocchio drawn onto the door. Remember, we discussed that doors in the Disney Pinocchio movie are meant to look inviting, but they are all metaphorical traps. And Drake led them through that door, the little door, which tells me, Drake walking through the same door as them symbolizes that he is playing along with what they're doing. Drake then enters a sacristy, and this is a place in a church where a priest will prepare for sermons. I believe this is meant to symbolize that Drake has led the Pinocchios into believing that nothing could possibly go wrong with their plan. It is 100% safe. A song then starts to play that is clearly unique, as it is tailored specifically to the Iceman theme.
You're good at business.
Come on.
We're good at business banking. Wells Fargo.
Ghost Pepper Cheesesteak is back at Penn Station. Try one before it vanishes. You're a sub.
Penn Station, boss.
Drake holds out the bag pretty much like he's surrendering, and he is surrounded by the 3 Pinocchios. I believe what we are seeing here is the battle and plan being initiated, and Drake already knows what's coming. A big part of the plot twist is playing along in the battle, because that is literally the trap. We hear the Iceman song playing in the background, and that's because the guy that's in front of them is a body double. The Iceman with the bag and the evidence changed at the girl's apartment, and we saw the video at the same fireplace where he recorded the Fighting Irish freestyle. And on that record, he said this.
Cover my body in dirt, but that wasn't me. That wasn't me. That was a body double, and we've done dozens of switches.
It's fucking wild.
Crazy.
Cover my body in dirt.
Now he on some others.
Me. They tried to destroy me.
Cover my body in dirt, but that wasn't me.
That was a body double.
That was my double.
Because the guy that they thought they buried, he already knew what they were going to do. He had to play the game, though. He had to go through with all these people calling him a pedophile and all this bullshit. He had to do that to catch him in the trap. What's even crazier about this is, remember that girl from earlier who sat back and she's watching those clips of him at this same fireplace? Well, this very freestyle starts out with a woman.
I'm recording.
I'm completely we can't understate how fucking crazy this is. This is fucking nuts. This is nuts.
It is crazy.
It's OD especially on the storytelling.
He didn't even.
And if it's facts,
he deliberately leaked it, but never on his own channels. This is never been an official Drake post. It came out of nowhere, and then it now it's up on the plot twist, but it's never been officially affiliated with Drake. I wonder why that is.
I promise I've been thinking before.
I wonder why it is.
I barely get tired. I'm rarely inspired.
The real reason why T-Pain hates Drake.
I ain't getting into all that.
I don't want to do that.
Y'all tripping.
No,
man, y'all. I promise y'all, it start catching my attention. I brought it to bro. I said, hey, we gotta get this. Word. If we can sit here and be like, Drake, you got bodied, I can at least hear his story.
Yeah, man.
Come on, man. But this crazy.
I'm real interested in the breakdown right there. Man. Shout out to bro.
No better time than to get in the comment section and let us know what you think, bro. What do you think, gang? And watch it. Watch it all the way through, man. Let us know what y'all thinking, man.
And in there, when you do that too, let us know any other videos that y'all feel is interesting that we can look into and cover. But yeah, man.
Hit the like button too.
Hit that like button, man. We running it up all month. We on that, man. It's the Real All Twin.